Listen to me carefully, because if you keep trying to please everyone, you will lose yourself. You will turn into a faded version of who you were meant to be, replaceable and forgettable. And when that happens, even the people who once liked you will no longer have a reason to stay. There is a truth we all know but rarely want to face. There will always be people who do not like you, no matter how kind you are, how polite you are, or how hard you try to prove you are worthy of their approval. And here is what matters. That is completely normal. In fact, having people who oppose you or even dislike you can be a good sign, because it often means you are doing something different enough, meaningful enough, to draw attention and spark a reaction. If no one ever says anything negative about you, you might be playing it too safe, choosing the path with the fewest waves, which is also the path that creates the least impact. People often believe being universally liked is the measure of success, but real success almost always comes with divided opinions. The greatest leaders, the most brilliant artists, the ones who change the world, they have both passionate supporters and fierce critics. And they understand that not everyone can see the full picture. Not everyone can grasp the intent and the values they are pursuing. So the first thing you must do is let go of the illusion that you need to be liked by everyone. Think about it. The people who try to please everyone are often the most exhausted, because they carry not only their own burdens, but also the weight of others' expectations and judgments. The truth is, you were not born to fit every mold, and that is exactly where your strength lies. Instead of asking why someone does not like you, ask yourself if you are living in alignment with what matters most to you. Because in the end, what you will regret is not that someone disliked you, but that you let the fear of being disliked make you give up on what was always meant to be yours. The first step to dealing with someone who does not like you is to understand that their feelings often have less to do with who you truly are and more to do with what is happening inside them. People see the world through the lens of their own experiences, fears, and insecurities, which means their perception of you is shaped by stories they have built long before you even entered the picture. Sometimes they feel threatened by your success. Sometimes they are envious of the attention you receive. And sometimes they simply project their own frustrations onto you because it is easier than facing themselves. There are also moments when dislike is born from misunderstanding, when a single comment taken out of context or a rumor passed quietly from one ear to another becomes the foundation of their judgment. In other cases, the reason is rooted in values and principles that do not align. And while that can create distance, it does not make either person wrong. It simply means you are walking different paths. Context matters too, because environments like workplaces, families, or communities can magnify tension. External pressure, competition, or the influence of other people can turn small differences into deep divides. But here is the truth you need to remember. When someone does not like you, it does not automatically mean you need to fix it. And it certainly does not mean you must change yourself to fit their approval. Instead of asking what is wrong with you, consider that what they feel is a reflection of their own reality, not the entirety of yours. When you start to see it this way, you stop giving them power over your sense of worth. You stop letting their opinion dictate your direction. Understanding why someone does not like you is not about excusing bad behavior. It is about removing the mystery so you can decide how to respond with clarity instead of emotion. Because when you know the possible reasons, you can choose whether to build a bridge, set a boundary, or simply walk away without guilt. When you find yourself face to face with someone who does not like you, your first instinct might be to defend yourself, to correct their perception, or to push back in a way that makes you feel you have regained control. But listen to me carefully, because this is where most people make the mistake that locks them into a cycle of conflict. The way you communicate in those moments will either protect your integrity or give it away. Your words, your tone, and your posture are not just reactions. They are statements about who you are and what you stand for. The first principle is to protect your integrity at all costs. Do not let their energy lower yours. Do not allow frustration to rewrite your values. When you respond, do so from a place that aligns with the person you want to be remembered as, not the person they might be trying to provoke. The second principle is to manage your emotions before they manage you. Dislike is contagious. When you let it live in your mind, it can twist your perspective and push you into overreact. Breathe, slow down, and remind yourself that your goal is not to win an argument, but to keep your character intact. The third principle is to set an intention for every interaction. If you know you will see this person, decide in advance what you want to achieve from that exchange. It might be to keep the conversation productive, to maintain professionalism, or to avoid unnecessary escalation. Whatever it is, let that intention guide your words so you are not pulled into their emotional frame. Communicating with someone who does not like you is not about pretending their feelings do not exist. It is about refusing to let those feelings dictate who you are in the conversation. When you master these principles, you shift from being reactive to being deliberate, and that is where your strength begins to change the entire dynamic. This might sound strange, even counterintuitive, but it is one of the most effective ways to disarm tension. When you treat someone who does not like you as if they do, you immediately remove the fuel that keeps their dislike alive. People who expect conflict often prepare for it in their minds long before they speak to you. They walk into the room ready to find another reason to justify how they feel. But when you greet them with the same calm respect you would give a trusted friend, you interrupt that cycle. You create a moment they did not prepare for, a moment where their script no longer works. This is not about being fake. It is about choosing to show up as the best version of yourself, regardless of how they show up. Being cordial, kind, and respectful does not require you to agree with them, admire them, or even want them in your life. It simply means you are refusing to let their behavior define yours. Think about the impression it leaves, not only on them, but on everyone watching. Your composure speaks louder than any defensive statement you could make. It says you know who you are not threatened, and you are in control of your own presence. And here is the truth. When you act this way, two things can happen. They might begin to question whether their opinion of you was ever accurate, or they might remain the same. Either way, you win because you have proven to yourself that you can hold your standard even in the face of resistance. Integrity is not tested in easy conversations. It is tested in the ones where you have every reason to break it. So when you face someone who does not like you, remember this. Treating them like they like you is not a weakness. It is a demonstration of strength they may never forget. There will be moments when no matter how hard you try, you simply cannot bring yourself to be warm towards someone who does not like you, and that is human. But here is where discipline matters. Because even if you cannot be friendly, you can still choose to be neutral. Neutrality is not weakness, it is control. It is the decision to give nothing that can be twisted, exaggerated, or used against you. When you stay neutral, you strip the conversation down to essentials. You speak in short, clear responses like understood, noted, got it, thank you. You avoid emotional hooks. You leave no open threads for conflict to climb through. This is not about shutting down communication. It is about removing the unnecessary fuel that keeps tension burning. Think of it as putting the fire in a glass box where it can still exist, but it cannot spread. In practice, this means you resist the urge to explain yourself unnecessarily. You resist the urge to match their tone. You resist the urge to respond to provocations no matter how subtle they are. Neutrality sends a quiet but powerful message that you are here for the purpose at hand. Nothing more, nothing less. And over time, people notice. They notice that you do not play the same games, that you are not easily pulled into emotional battles, that you value your peace more than you value winning a petty exchange. This is the kind of consistency that protects your reputation, even among those who are not your allies. Because when you stay neutral, you show that you are not defined by the storm around you. You are defined by the calm you carry within you. Sarcasm might feel satisfying in the moment. It might give you that quick rush of winning a small jab, but it is a victory that costs you more than it gives. When you use sarcasm with someone who does not like you, you are not proving your strength. You are confirming their narrative. You are giving them exactly what they expect. Another reason to believe they were right about you all along. This is why you must strip sarcasm out of the conversation and anchor yourself to the facts. Facts are clean, facts are neutral, facts cannot be twisted into personal attacks. If they ask a question, answer it with the relevant information. Nothing more, nothing less. If they make a remark designed to provoke you, resist the temptation to dress your reply in cleverness or hidden meaning. Give the truth plainly, without the emotional decoration that can be misread. This is not about being robotic. it is about being intentional. Every time you remove sarcasm, you deny them the chance to escalate. Every time you stick to facts, you remind yourself that you are here for a reason bigger than proving a point. In a meeting, if they arrive late and ask what they missed, you do not say if you cared enough to be here, you would know. You simply say, we discussed topic A and decided on next steps for B. That is it. Simple, clear, factual, and here is the deeper benefit. When you communicate this way consistently, you train yourself to rise above the noise, to respond from clarity instead of ego. You start to see that winning in these situations is not about outsmarting them in the moment, it is about outlasting them over time by refusing to be pulled down to their level. Sarcasm is a spark in dry grass, but facts are water on the flame. Choose the water every time. One of the most liberating truths you can accept is that opinions change. The person who dislikes you today might respect you tomorrow, and the one who admires you now might grow distant later. Human relationships are not fixed points. They are constantly shifting landscapes shaped by time, experience, and perspective. This is why it is dangerous to treat someone as if their current opinion of you is a permanent label. When you do, you lock both of you into a story that may no longer be true a year from now. The mindset you need is one that keeps the door open, even just a little, because life has a way of rewriting connections in ways you cannot predict. People grow, circumstances evolve, misunderstandings clear, and shared challenges can create unlikely bonds. This does not mean you chase approval or wait around for someone to like you. It means you interact with them in a way that does not destroy the possibility of change. If you burn every bridge out of pride, you also burn the chance for future understanding. But when you maintain your standards, protect your integrity, and avoid unnecessary damage, you leave room for time to do its work. Think about how many relationships in your own life have transformed. Friends you once fought with who are now your closest allies. Colleagues you once avoided who became your strongest supporters. If it has happened before, it can happen again. The long-term mindset is not about forcing reconciliation, it is about leaving space for it. It is about living in such a way that if the day comes when paths align again, there is no bitterness to undo, only a bridge ready to be crossed. There is a difference between someone who simply does not like you and someone whose presence is actively damaging to you. Dislike on its own can be managed, it can be navigated with the right mindset and boundaries, but toxicity is something else entirely. If every interaction leaves you feeling drained, disrespected, or unsafe, you owe it to yourself to recognize that this is no longer about mutual differences, it is about self-preservation. Limiting or ending contact is not an act of weakness, it is an act of clarity. It is the moment you decide that protecting your mental and emotional health is more important than maintaining an unhealthy connection. This might mean reducing conversations to essential topics only, choosing written communication over face-to-face meetings, or physically removing yourself from environments that feed hostility. It might mean saying no to invitations or opportunities that require you to be in close proximity to that person. These decisions are not about proving a point. They are about honoring your own boundaries. Some relationships do not get better with time. Some patterns only deepen if left unchecked. And while it is noble to hope for change, it is also wise to recognize when hope becomes an excuse to tolerate harm. Walking away does not mean you hate them. It means you value yourself enough to choose peace over constant conflict. And in choosing that peace, you give yourself the space to grow, to invest in relationships that lift you higher, and to create an environment where you can thrive without the weight of someone else's negativity. Every strategy you have learned so far rests on a set of foundational skills, and without them, even the best intentions will collapse under pressure. The first skill is self-awareness. You cannot navigate difficult interactions if you do not understand your own triggers, your own patterns, and the ways you tend to react when emotions run high. Self-awareness allows you to catch yourself before you speak words you cannot take back. It allows you to recognize when you are being pulled into their emotional frame instead of holding your own. The second skill is emotional regulation. This is the ability to slow your breathing when your pulse quickens, to soften your voice when you feel your temper rise, to choose silence when the urge to lash out becomes loud. Emotional regulation is not suppression, it is mastery. And mastery means you decide how and when to respond instead of letting the moment decide for you. The third skill is non-verbal control. People read your body before they hear your words. And if your tone says calm while your posture says attack, they will believe your posture. Learn to manage your facial expressions, your gestures, and even the way you hold your shoulders, because these silent signals often speak louder than anything you say. The fourth skill is intentional listening. This means you do not just wait for your turn to speak, you actually hear the meaning behind their words. You look for the thread that matters in the noise they are creating. Sometimes this alone can diffuse tension because it shows you are not here to fight but to understand. The final skill is clarity of speech. Keep your words simple, your sentences clean, your point direct. Clarity eliminates space for misinterpretation and reduces the chance for conflict to grow. These skills are not learned in a day, but the more you practice them, the more natural they become, until they are part of who you are, not just something you do when conflict shows up. In every interaction, you are faced with a choice to react in the moment or to respond with intention. The difference is more than just a few seconds of thought. It is the gap between losing yourself and finding strength. You cannot control who likes you, who misunderstands you, or who decides to stand against you, but you can control the way you meet them. That choice is where your true power lives. Choosing your response is not about being passive, it is about being deliberate. It is the recognition that every word you speak either builds your integrity or chips away at it. That every tone you use either reinforces your values or betrays them. When you treat people with respect, even when they do not offer it to you, you are not doing it because they deserve it. You are doing it because you deserve to live in alignment with your own standards. When you stay neutral, instead of feeding a fire, you are not avoiding the fight, you are choosing the higher ground. When you strip sarcasm away and anchor yourself to facts, you are not losing your edge. You are sharpening it into something far more precise and effective. And when you protect your boundaries from those who bring harm, you are not closing your heart. You are guarding the space where your heart can thrive. This is the quiet strength that outlasts noise. The kind of strength that allows you to walk away with your head high and your conscience clear. In the end, the goal is not to win every conflict. It is to live in such a way that you are never ashamed of how you handled it. Because the measure of your character is not set by how you treat those who love you, but by how you choose to respond to those who do not.